There we go. If I didn't forget something each and every day, it just wouldn't be me. So this time I just forgot to turn on my wireless receiver, which is a thing. It actually, it's a very handy thing because it allows me to have a mic on and you get better audio and I can move around the shop freely and don't have to worry about, dropping my audio as I move around and things like that. But it only works when you turn it on. So there is that. What is today? It's Friday. My gosh. Friday, the 6th of August. Let's see, what is it? Oh, wow. It's my parents' 62nd wedding anniversary is this weekend, which is very cool. I made them a little something and shipped that off. So hopefully it gets to them in time. I shipped it priority mail. So hopefully it gets to them in time. I always find it's really funny because, as your parents, if your parents are still around and as they get older, it's like, at a certain point, there's just less and less stuff that they actually need. I find this to be the case. So it's kind of like you kind of go back to that whole thing where like you were in kindergarten and first grade, where the thing that means the most to them is the gift that you actually can make them. And so that's kind of what I do is I make these, I make things for them. I've got a wood shop and sometimes I'll make little jewelry boxes or just little things. And, I don't know. Sometimes I think those are the things that mean the most and have the most value. I mean, my parents have been, like I said, 62 years. So, they're both in their early 80s and doing very well health-wise and such. But it's like, what do you need when you're in your 80s? Do you need stuff? What stuff do you need? I mean, besides the stuff they already have. So anyway, hopefully they will like what I got them. I don't want to show it because heaven forbid they look on my stream. I don't think they will. But if they did, I wouldn't want them to see anything. I actually had done some preliminary stuff with it with the CNC and didn't turn out exactly the way I wanted to, but it was pretty close. So I'm happy with it, and hopefully they will be too. Also, what else is going on? Well, my son dropped off his hellhounds yesterday evening. He and his girlfriend are going up to New York for a wedding, and so I'm keeping their dogs again for them for a couple of days. And oh my God, it's just, oh. They've used up their goodwill from me for like the next year because their dogs are a handful. My dogs are sweet and obedient and non-problematic, and their dogs are just, well, one of them's super crazy. I mean, she's just insane, and she like just spontaneously pees on things or chews on things, and the other one, like, I have to watch her like a hawk because she'll escape. She'll find new ways to get out of my yard, and I've already chased her once this morning. I found her down the street playing with another dog, and it's just like, I don't need that kind of stress in my life. But anyway, taking care of them for the weekend. So hopefully, if I have to, I will interrupt the stream to occasionally. I've got my door cracked going into my house so that I can hear them. If they raise Cain in there, I've got them kind of gated into an area. Not that they can't jump the gates if they really were inspired, but I'm hoping that at least in some way, shape, or form, they will be contained and I can do some stuff out here. I don't know how long this stream is going to be today. I'm hoping I can get some stuff done. But yeah, that's kind of what's going on in my life right now. Crazy dogs. It just makes me appreciate mine so much more because my dogs are pretty awesome. What am I up to though? Well, let's see. Wednesday, we got all of the, what did we do Wednesday? Well, we assembled, right? So we were making bases and then we put them in some glue and we ended up with little boxes like this. It's not really a box yet because it doesn't have a bottom or a top, but it's getting there, right? So I did a couple of these on stream. I think I did one of these, and then I did like this big one, which is for a separate project, but the same type construction. So it's just much, you can see, it is much larger than the other one, right? So much larger. But we're going to be moving forward. So what I did yesterday was I finished getting these all glued up. So the other three, I have three more that are in clamps right now. So we need to get those out of the clamps. And then we will move forward with flattening the bottoms because I need to flatten, well, the bottoms and the tops really. They need bottoms, which will come in the form of plywood. I'm not really thinking I'm ready to do the bottoms quite today because I don't have enough plywood. I think I have enough plywood to do maybe, well, I might be able to do 4 of these. But I don't have enough to do like this big thing. So I need to go buy some plywood. I just get my plywood from the local big box. My local place is a, what do I have? A Home Depot. There's also a Lowe's, but the Home Depot is a little closer. And they do carry cut sheet goods like plywood. I use a 1/4 inch Baltic birch ply, and they have those cut into 4 2x4 sheets, 2 feet by 4 feet, and those are easy for me to transport. So I usually get a couple of those. They are more expensive than if you bought a full sheet. If you buy a full 4 feet by 8 foot sheet, it's going to cost you less, and then you got to get it cut. And they usually give you 2 cuts for free. Problem is they don't normally carry big full sheets of the 1/4 inch. They carry 1/2 inch in full sheets and 3/4 inch in full sheets, but they don't carry the 1/4 inch thick stuff in full sheets. So I just buy, I buy 2, and that usually handles most of what I need. And I have a little extra left over every now and then. But I'm looking over at my sheet good pile right now. And I see one over there that, like I said, I could probably get 4 out of that. But I need at least 1 more sheet to get this big mamma jamma done. But anyway, so that's for the bottoms. Then for the tops, this right here receives a route going all the way around. It's a rabbet bit that I use that goes all the way around, and that is where the machine actually sets on that ledge that that rabbet bit creates. So I'm going to route these down and create the rabbet along the top, and then I use a different rabbeting bit, a 1/4 inch rabbeting bit on the bottom, and that makes the groove for the bottom insert, for that plywood insert. And the reason I use a different bit is I have 2 of them right here that are, I'll show you. Let me go to cam 4. So these are the 2 bits that I use. You can see one of them is much larger than the other. So this one has a very large round profile to it. And that's the one I use for doing the tops and making the rabbet where the actual base is going to sit. It does a much larger profile on here. This will cut a 3/8 inch from this to here to the edge of the blade. That's 3/8 of an inch. And that's what I use to route. And that the corner profile is really just perfect for the sewing machine that's going to go in there. So that's why I like this one. Plus this is, it has different bearings that I can use. So if I wanted to change the side, I could do that. So this is basically an Amana Tools. I'll show you the thing though. So I got this bit. This is an Amana Tools. This is not a cheap bit, especially with the different bearings and such, but it gives it a lot of flexibility. It's a very sharp tool. So, you know, my thing, and it's also got a 1/2 inch shank, which makes it a very stable bit to use. I prefer, if I've got something that really, you know, I need precision cuts and I need flexibility and stuff like that, I will spend the extra money on a really good bit. And this is, like I said, Amana Tools makes really good bits, but they're not cheap. I don't know how much that bit costs, but it's not cheap. It's probably 75 bucks or something like that. This is the one I use for doing all the bottoms. This is just a standard 1/4 inch. This is maybe like a Diablo or something like that. But the space from the bearing on this one to the edge is a 1/4 inch. And that is perfect for doing all of my base bottoms for plywood. And the reason I say that is if you look here at the bottom of this, you'll notice that the handle, where I route this handle out, I leave some meat on the back of that route, or on the back of this pocket right here that I've made for the handles. And when you route this out, hopefully you can see where that blade impacts, it leaves about 1/8 of an inch between where it's going to route and this handle right here. So I leave that much meat in between, and that adds stability to it. If it gets too thin, it kind of, that wood can get broken and such. The wood that lives between the bottom insert and the handle. So I use this 1/4 inch going all the way around. Plus the corner profile on this is really nice because it's the same diameter as a nickel. And I use the nickel to trace the corner radius and then cut that radius out, and it fits perfectly when I route for this. And we'll if you haven't seen me do that before, it's a very common thing that I do for the bottoms, but I'll do it again. This particular one right here, for this big one, this one I might use the 1/4 inch for the top of this. This is going to get 2 routes as well. It's going to get the 1/4 inch route at the bottom, just like everything else, for a piece of plywood, and that's going to be standard. But the top, this is going to accept a piece of board, and I need to make that rabbet bit go down about 1/2 inch. So I'll have to do it in several passes until it's just the right depth, because of the wonderful things he does. Nope, that's not why. Because I'm using that box. Let me get this out of the way. Oh my gosh, this is so heavy. Set this up here. Like spiders and stuff hanging on here. Anyway, this is going to fit inside this large box right here. I'm going to take this back flap off right here. So it's just going to be this piece of wood up here that fits inside there. In fact, I need to take this off. I need to find the hinge screws on here and take this off because I need to check measurement to make sure. Oh, maybe the black t-shirt wasn't a good idea today. Lots of dusty things, but that's kind of just generally the way it is. And the other thing is, oh shoot, I pretty much always just wear black shirts anyway. So let me find a screwdriver that hopefully would be appropriate. And let me put my camera switcher back up here and get my backside out of your front face. And let's see if we can take these off. And they're kind of really small screws, so hopefully this will fit in here. Now, I didn't actually discuss, I was talking to the person who owns this about things to do, and we were kind of like tossing some ideas around, and nothing was really decided on. So this is just my idea of what to do with this thing. So I don't want to destroy this piece of wood, but this, if I can get this, oh, this one might be a problem. Get your little face back inside there, you goober. I see you. I see you. Crazy dog. I might need a thinner screwdriver. These are really thinly slotted screws. Get a couple of them out here. I might need to clean the grooves of them out. They're flatheads. Old flathead screws that they used in these machines are super thin. They were super thin bladed screws that they use in these things. So the heads, I don't know what screwdrivers they had, but they had super thin screw heads on there. I might be able to clean the head out, the slot. I've got one that I can't get this in, but I think it's just the slot is clogged. So let me get my needle, super needle. I have a super needle here, and clean this slot out of here and see if I can get this screw. If it's been messed up, then I'm kind of hosed on here as to getting this out. Just trying to clean out the slot. I don't know if I'm going to get this in there or not. It looks like it may have been stripped, which is not going to bode well for me. I don't think I can get this in there. Does not want a seat in there. I might have a thinner screwdriver head. Just can't quite get it to grab. And I don't want to strip it anymore. Let me see if I have a thinner head on this thing. I might have a thinner screw head on here. Nope, that's the thinnest one I have. Humana. I mean, I could take the threads, the screws off the other side of this hinge. I mean, it's just a hinge, right? So let me see if I can loosen the screws on the top side of that hinge, and maybe we can take it off that way. For the time being, I can just have it sit there. Okay, this is working. It's always, you know, there's always something. It's like, oh, look, the one screw that doesn't want to come out. That's the one you need out. Okay, so this screw, and then this screw. This will at least let me take this back piece of wood off of here. And then, there we go. And then I can measure to make sure that route. So here's the back piece of wood that came off of here, and you can see one of the hinges is off. That's the way I wanted the other one to be, but no, it had to have a tiny screw. Good thing is it's kind of routed flat in there. So now you can see it's got a thinner profile, right? So it's not as thick as it looked before. But what I can do now, if I've measured this correctly, is take some of this stuff out of the way here. Is take this, set it here, and it looks, it should have left a 1/4 of an inch profile around this edge here that I can rabbet bit this in so that this sits directly inside. Now that looks a little, I mean, it was hard to get these measurements, but see, now I'm looking at it, I'm like, well, that doesn't look like it fits at all. That looks like it's the exact width. I mean, this is what you go through when you're doing this stuff. And I can make sure it's kind of even there. It's pretty close. I mean, it's an old piece of wood, right? So it's not great. So it looks like my sides here are not perfect, but that's okay. I have solutions for that too. So I can add a filler strip along the inside edge as a support underneath, and then it can rest on a rabbet on the ends here, so I can actually just rabbet the end of it. I don't have to rabbet the entire thing. I just have to be careful when I do it and then chisel it out. But what I'm looking for is my pencil, because I want to just draw a couple lines on here. This looks to be evenly spaced. Let me just check and see. I'm going to just use my gauge here and see that's the edge of this one, and then see if I'm even here, which it looks like I am. Pretty close. Pretty close. And that is about a ½ inch away. If I do, we do a ½ inch here, which would give me that ¼ inch slot that I need. So apparently my side depth was a little wonky. That's good. It's a little, just a little long, but that's okay. So what I'm going to do on this to start with is I'm going to do a ¼ inch route, a ¼ inch route on the end. So we'll do a rabbet cut on the end of this, and that will give me a ledge to set this entire tabletop on. I'm going to have to do it deep because I want this part flush with the top here. That's my plan, is to make it flush. And well, I'm just kind of sighting down here to see. Yeah, get a pencil here, because that's about what I need. And the route needs to go to the edge, but I will have to clean it up with a chisel, so that's okay. Depth-wise, this thing is about, oh, it's a little over 3/4 inch. I don't think that's, let me see. Let me check this side over here. Is that really? Let's see. Yeah, it's a hair over 3/4 inch, which it doesn't look it, but I guess it is. Like, here's a piece of 3/4. Yeah, it's just a hair thicker than a 3/4 inch. So I'm gonna have to do this in a couple of passes on the router table. But before I actually do that, what I will do is I will make sure this is really flat. I'll check this on my table, on my table saw, which has a cast iron top, and I use that as a reference for flatness, and then we can flatten that out. Yeah, this is interesting. I might, see, I don't want to change anything of the mechanics of this because there's some hinge pieces and stuff in here. I don't want to change any of that. The other thing is this, well, no, see, you can, I was thinking you have to tip this whole thing up, but you don't, because this actually tips and the whole machine will come up. So you don't have to have this base tip. You just need this to be set inside and then it will tip. So that looks pretty good. All right, that's plane A. That's for this machine, which is a big, giant, bulky machine. And you can see you can't really set this flat. It doesn't like to set flat, so that's why it needs a base. All right, so we're gonna route this here. I might actually use my 3/8 inch because that gives me a little bit of a leeway on the corners here. It'll still fit. And then what I'm thinking is on the inside, what I would do is just add a couple of support blocks like this on the inside, just a couple of support blocks. Once I have it setting inside on the lip, I can find out where it rests right there. I can just take a pencil and mark where that wood is. And I can just put a couple of blocks, thin blocks on the inside like this. And they will add support along the length of it. I can glue those in or glue and screw them in or whatever. It doesn't really matter. I will do that before I put a bottom into this thing probably though. Excuse me, I'll route for the bottom because that way I know how deep to put, how thick a piece of wood I need to put inside there. Not very. It looks like I'm going to need maybe, I'm thinking, let's see here. Let me try a ruler, might work. So if I take this as 3/4 of an inch, a little bit more than 3/4 of an inch, and let's see here, 1/4 of an inch up there. Yeah, so I'm going to need basically a thin strip of maybe 1.5 inches to go along the inside of there, which is no big deal because I can take anything like this or whatever and just cut it down to the width I need. So that's easy enough. All right, that's plan A. Plan B, well, not plan B, part 2. We'll do part 2. Part 2 are these things. These are the 301 bases. They get the 1/4 inch route in the bottom, and they get the big fat route at the top with the 3/8 inch. So I will do those. Those are really simple to do. There's some more complicated stuff I have to do on these because I have to create lids, and those actually get cut on the CNC machine because they are a precise shape, because I like them to be curving around the front of that lip. It's not just a straight block of wood that goes across there. It actually has a curve that fits around the front of the machine. So those are a little bit more of a pain. I do those on the CNC though. I have a profile for them, so I will cut those out on the CNC. But I need to get these done and routed. So first things first. First thing is I'm going to lower the blade on my table saw so that I don't end up scratching and marring anything. And I'm going to set these aside. I've got the other ones in the clamps, which I need to get them out of the clamps. So that's what we're going to do is remove them from the clamps. Let me set this over here so it's not in my way and I don't knock it off and have to buy a new computer because that would suck. I've also been spraying in the background. I've been spraying. So this is a cherry base I made for a 3/4 size machine. This one just got finished spraying this morning. This is one in the oak. I did this I think that I did this one yesterday. Or yeah, I don't, you know what I'm saying. Anyway, I need to set these inside and get them out of the way. Okay, so those are set aside. And now I can pull these up. So I've got these in the clamps. So we need to get these out of clamps. That's the first order of business. So I'm just gonna, flip them over to the correct side. There we go. So just take the side clamps off here. And take the parallel clamps. Okay, and this is the only walnut one. I just had extra walnut laying around. So this is the walnut 301. And I'm going to go hang these up as I go. Just kind of gets them out of the way. These are kind of big and bulky, and it's easier to just store them as I go. Okay, we'll grab the next one right here. Okay. And then, yeah, so I have 4 of these bases in cherry. So there's another cherry. And then I have the one in walnut. So there's 5 of these 301 bases in total. That's what I came up with the wood that I had cut at the time. Which, sometimes depending on what I'm doing, I might make more like when I was doing these 3/4 size bases, I think I had 8 of them in total. But you know, it just depends on what I've got for wood stores and things like that. All right, this last one. So this last one's a little different because I had these thinner Bessie clamps to do the sides. What I did was I ended up putting some pieces of wood on the sides there, and those act as clamping cauls to distribute that pressure from this clamp a little more evenly on the sides. So that was my plan. Hopefully that worked. Some of these clamps actually have wider profiles and they distribute the force a little bit more evenly, but these clamps have kind of like a really small foot, and I didn't want to have it push in one area and not apply that pressure across the entire face. So I just used these little clamping cauls, and it seems to have done a good job, because the way I can tell is I look at my seams on the sides here where they pushed in, and I've got good closure of the joint across there. So that looks good. All right, let me get all these clamps out of the way, and then we will check these for flatness. And then the way that we actually make them flat is a little old-fashioned hand tool work. We'll get the plane out and plane them flat, but I have to get all these clamps out of the way first. I'm just going to set these out of the way for the moment, because it's just easier that way. Okay. Got all these. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's number 5. Oops. Number 5. And I was kind of like this walnut one. For whatever reason, I was off by 1/8 of an inch. I don't know how that happened, but 1/8 of an inch in a good way. It was too long by 1/8 of an inch. So I had to do a couple of adjustments on these to make them so that they were the exact same size as all the others. So these should all be within like a 1/16 of an inch, hopefully, of each other. You know, wood is wood. I mean, you try to get really super close with it and stuff, but you're not always exact, but pretty darn close. And that should give me some good fit when it comes time to doing the routing and everything. It's amazing how much heavier this walnut is than the cherry. Cherry is really a pretty light wood as wood goes. All right, you come over here. Hang on, I gotta move a clamp here. All right, a little extra room. And so, as I said, the way that I check these for square is I use my cast iron table, which is very flat, and then I just basically do a corner test. Now this one, very flat. I try to, when I'm gluing them up, because I do the glue ups on this table as well, and I try to make sure that all the pieces of wood are down on that table, but sometimes when you apply the clamps and stuff, you'll get a little slippage, and the pieces just kind of slide off each other a little bit, and then that's when you'll get one edge that's just a hair higher than the other or something like that. This one is pretty good. I'm gonna check the other side just to be just a tiny bit. We may worry about that later. I'm just checking the bottoms right now for these. And now this one, okay, this one has a substantial wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. So we'll come back to that one. This one also has a wiggle. So we will need to do some correction on that one. This one's very flat. Stick it there. This one. Little tiny wiggle here. I'm going to move these over here for the moment. And then I'm going to grab this big boy because it's going to get the same route. You just have to kind of find the flat spot here. And this one needs a little, so I've got 4 of these that are going to need just a little bit of adjustment. And the way I'm going to do that is with a, back over here, I'm going to do that with my hand plane, and I need to get that in place. Let me get this dust collection out of the table saw here because I'm stepping over the hose and it's kind of in the way. I'm just going to get that out of the way. And then it gives me a much better area to stand in when I do this. Typically what I will do is I've got a little piece of wood right here. This is something I made to fit into the dog holes, and it just goes across, and that allows me to take like a base or something like that and push it up against there. It just gives a little bit of pressure against this way, so that if I want to run a plane up this way, it gives me a little bit of ability to do that. The other thing I can do, I move all these papers and such out of the way. I have to move stuff off of this centerpiece, but if you look at my table here, you'll notice, I don't know if you can see it or not, there's a stripe. You probably can't see it. So there's a stripe that goes down. There's a nice walnut stripe that goes down my table right here. So basically what I can do is I can slide this over just a little bit, and now it raises it up. So now I've got a stop right here. So this is a stop. I can push against that. And I've got this little stop right here. I can push against that. I can put this in the corner, and that makes it very stable. If it wants to really just be a pain and move around, what I can do is get some clamps and clamp in from the side right here. Probably without the little rubber mat underneath would make it a little bit better. I can raise this up a little bit, push against it, put it in the corner right here, and then it's very stable for me to do that. So in order to move forward here, let's go back to the saw here, and let's find out which of these corners is too high or too low. Hey, who wants a spam phone call? Not me. So what I'm doing is I'm tipping this, and the areas that are up in the air and are actually tipping are the low spots. So the high spots are these opposite corners. So I'll take those and mark them with a pencil. So I'm going to mark these just a little bit here, just so I know that this is a high spot. I can feel it. It is just a hair above that corner piece. The other thing I want to look at is the grain direction, because I don't want to go against the grain when I plane these down. Like this is a good one right here. I can plane this one down because my grain direction is going to be going this way. You can't see that. My grain direction is going to be going, let's see if this is a better view. My grain direction is going up, okay? So as I drag the plane across it, it's cutting the tops of those off. If the grain was going this direction, then what would happen is the blade would hit it and then peel up, and then you get tear out. So that's bad. Do I got another view here? I got a view right here. We can watch it this way. All right, so I'm just gonna kind of start taking this edge down, and I'll pull it back so that I can make sure that this is nice and straight. I don't want to just do this end, because then I'll just have a piece of wood that comes down here and then drops off. So I need to kind of flatten it along the length as I go, but I'll start on the end and then I'll work backwards and just kind of straighten it out along the length of it. And I'm just getting nice, I mean, I've got a very thin cut on here. It's you can see it's a super thin, you can see through it. So a very thin slice that I'm cutting off of there. And then what I will do is flip it around, and hopefully my wood direction is going to be accommodating here. And I'm going to do this one as well. Feels pretty good. And then I'm going to, like I said, bring it back here and just get it very flat along that edge. And then once we have that, we're going to bring it back to the table over here, and we're going to go back and see how our tipping is. Not quite. It's better. I'm looking to see where it's rocking now. So I want to see where it's actually touching the table as I do this. This edge definitely higher. This, I need to take a little off of this right here. This seems to be needing to be flattened just a hair. So that was not flat. So now I'm going to come back here and check it again. So that looks really nice there. It's got a little bit, and I think that is this edge right here, just needs a little bit more. So we're going to come back here and do this edge just a little bit more. Like I said, I'm going to take pass this way and then come all the way up here. And then I might also just kind of bring this and make sure I'm getting this kind of to meet it and be flat. The thing I found with doing this kind of stuff is you want to take slow, small bites. You don't want to do too much. I think this one I can see down here, this end right here definitely needs, I need to narrow this down right here. So this one definitely needs to be narrowed down. So I'm just going to keep cutting this down right here. And then hopefully I can make this meet it. But I'm just going to keep checking this as I go. Oh, that's nice. So now if you look, there's no rocking, no tipping. This bottom is now super flat. And the reason I do that is because when I run this around the router table, you know, the bit sticking up in the router table, and I run this around the perimeter using that bit, and if this is uneven, I will get an uneven route around that bottom. So this gives me the flattest, best scenario for doing that route. And it just also just makes it set nice on a table, right? Because that's kind of the point. So that one's good. Let's grab another one. And very tippy. So I think my corners here definitely need to be dressed. So definitely need to do these corners. So I'm just going to mark on these things so I know where my height. Now these don't feel high. The wood does not feel like it's sticking up anywhere here, but I mean, obviously from that rocker, this one just a little bit, but that was a lot of rocking there. So I'm thinking, you know, just sometimes it's just the angle of the wood. But we're going to clean this up really quick here. In that I'm going against the grain on this one, but it seems to be holding well. It helps that I have a really sharp blade. This blade was just sharpened not that long ago. So it's pretty darn sharp and I'm not getting tear out, which I'm going to leave it that way because it's easier for me to control it from this direction. That's pretty good. And then I will hit the other side real quick and then we'll check it again. So I'm going to flip this around. Hopefully my grain direction is sort of in the right area there. I mean, this is really flat along this. So it just basically just needs to be taken down a little bit. So I'm going to start closer to it. Just take a couple passes, maybe on this corner right here, like this. And then we'll bring it back here and get a couple of longer passes just so that we can kind of angle that corner down a little bit. And now let's go ahead and check it right here. We're closer. I can tell just from looking at it. Still got a little bit of tip, but I can see that we are much closer. I'm looking where it's actually touching the table to see where I can knock some. So I can knock a little bit down this way, right here. And then maybe a little bit along through here. But let's give this a shot. Okay, and then same thing over here, just a little bit. I don't need to do too much. Let's give that a shot. Oh, sorry, you didn't even get to see that, did you? But, I mean, we're really super close. I'm going to take one more pass on here. One more pass on here, right at this corner. I think that'll do it for me. So I'm just going to kind of come right in here, get one there, and one here. And like I said, because I'm taking very thin cuts, I'm not taking a lot of wood off of there. And now we are very flat again. So, I mean, there's just, well, I just want to make one more pass. You know, I get really picky on it, but I'm going to take one more pass right here on this corner. Just to see. Let's see here. There we go. I just had a tiny, tiny tap noise in there, but now it's very, 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 very stable. Moving on, I've got this, which definitely had some tipping to it. I can see it when I look inside. I don't know if you can see, but in this back edge, right back here, I can see that this is not touching the table. So I already know that that's a low spot, and I know if I tap on that corner, it's going to go down somewhere. Well, I say that. There it is. So I think I was resting on a, sometimes you have to make sure that you don't have any sawdust or anything on here either. Or glue is another thing too. You'll get like glue squeeze out, which can create high spots. So sometimes it's just a matter of cleaning the glue out. Like right here, I see some glue squeeze out. So I'm just going to clean that edge up. And then this is actually just a hair high. So I will clean this one up as well. Now I have to look. Now this one, I have to run from this. I can't put it in this corner and run. I have to run it over here because of the way the grain direction's going. But that's okay. Let's just make a couple of cuts here. And you'll start to hear it kind of, well, I don't know if you can or not, but when I get past here, it'll make a scraping noise because it's going across. It's not going with the grain anymore. It's going across the grain of this end piece. And that's kind of how you know that you're kind of flat, right? Because it's like, oh, well. And then you can just kind of get some long, smoother strokes in there and make the edges straight and flat. So that one's done. And we'll check it again. Because I think I'm going to take it this way and just kind of clean this edge off here a little bit. There we go. All right, and then I'm going to take this edge and find out where the grain's running. Same deal. I have to go this direction. And we'll take this one down. I think this one's mostly a little bit of glue on the end here, but it could be a little high. Okay, now I'm starting to get some cutting. Still a little high. Oh, geez, I just ran this in the side. That's something to be careful with, is keep this as flat as you can. You don't want it to tip because then you'll get like crazy edges and such. So, oh, Dennis is here from West Virginia. And he's in the, you're in the, that's that the Facebook window? I always forget which one it is. Yeah, that's the Facebook window. Well, welcome, Dennis. Must be lunchtime. I think Dennis pops in here during lunch break. So I hope you're having a good Friday today. I'm just sitting here in my shop as it gets warmer. It's 78 right now, so still bearable. The other thing is walnut is a little bit more of a pain to cut. So, all right, I'm gonna put this back on the table over here. Check for, yeah, I still have a lot of tippy tips going on here. So I need to take these two corners down. So I'm gonna mark them. So I've got this corner right here that definitely needs to come down. This corner definitely needs to come down. And I may have gone too far on the other side, and I think I tipped it to the other direction. Oh no. Okay, that is not good. I need to turn this. I'm gonna have to run it from this direction. Hang on, I've got to get this out of my way. All right, so I've got to run this from the end here, crazy grain direction. Okay, and in this one, let me check. This is pretty flat. I might be able to do it from this side. Like I said, I want to make sure you don't get any chip out though. What's new and exciting in your world, Dennis? I'm just doing the same thing I always do. I'm making bases. Can't see me right now, can you? There we go. So I'm just doing some planing and flattening. That's what's new in my world. And that feels pretty good. I'm almost there. You still see a little bit here. I'm going to try this corner right here. Take this down a little bit. If that helps. Ugh. So let me try it again. I think it's on this side now. And I'm going to try to do the same thing over here and take this corner down right here. So let me, oh, there goes the hellhound. Okay, and then I'm going to have to take this down. And this is the part that's, I have to do it from this end. It's like the least comfortable end to plane from is this back corner right here. But that might be enough. So let's go back over here and check it. Okay. Square, square, square. I like it. All right. One more at this big mamma jamma. And this is pretty square. I think right across the front here, I need to just flatten this just a little bit. So maybe this end just across the middle there, I think. Barely, I'm not even hitting that. It's just kind of weird. It's a little high there. Let's see how this one goes here. Oh, same thing. Gotta work it from this side. Okay. And this one needs a little bit as well. Flat. Okay, let me measure this again. This was pretty close anyway, so hopefully I didn't just screw it all up, but got just a little bit, I think right in the middle of this one. Let me look here. right on this corner right here. I think this corner. So I think this corner just needs to come down just a hair and we'll be in good shape. So I'm going to run that from here. And that might just be enough. I mean, it's really slight, so I don't want to do more than just, there we go. So, all right, so I've got all those sides flattened, which means we can now move on to the 1/4 inch bit. Oh, nice. So you're making a tool cabinet, right? Yeah, the 100-pound extension slides, I've got some of those. They work really well. They hold up usually better than the drawers. So when I do, how are you doing your drawer inserts for the bottoms? Are you doing slotted grooves to slide the board into? Or are you gonna just do kind of like I do on here and just do a route and put them in and like nail them in or something? Obviously the route and sliding them in is the much more secure option. Yeah, so 20 by 24 by 4 inch drawers. Yeah, so that's a lot of tension in the middle of a drawer if you put heavy stuff in there. So I wouldn't test those 100-pounders with the drawer unless you're using, well, it also depends on the thickness, right, of the, I'm gonna change my camera angle here for everybody, but it depends on the thickness of the drawer bottom too. If you're using 1/4 inch, well, that's gonna be obviously a little more sag in it, right? Not nearly as supportive as, that's probably a good shot right there. Not nearly as supportive, like 1/2 inch is really, if you're doing heavy tools, 1/2 inch might be good, but most people I know use 1/4 inch or hardboard. I use hardboard in some of mine, which is kind of nice to work with. Glue staple on the bottom. Yeah, I wouldn't test with glues and staples. I wouldn't test your 100-pound weight limit with a big giant drawer that big. I mean, 100 pounds, that's probably overkill anyway. I doubt you would put, 100 pounds is a lot to put into a drawer. That's like a drawer. If I had a drawer that was like this big, that's almost as big as what you're talking about. You know how much stuff you'd have to put in there for 100 pounds? So your 100-pound drawer slides are probably a little overkill because I doubt you'd ever put 100 pounds. You could probably get away with like 50-pound drawer pulls without any problem at all. Yeah, screws. Screws are good to perimeter screws, and I've had to do that on a couple of, even on the one where I did a slot. So I slotted it so you could slide it in from the back, and then I flipped it and did screws along the back side just to make sure that it stayed put and didn't move. So, all right. So I'm going to be setting up for my my router table now, and I need to change a couple of things here. I'm just making sure I'm unplugged, because I'm going to do all of the bottom routes on this thing, which is probably easier. Is that my son leaving? I think it is. It better be. Yep. He's gone. I can always tell when it's just about noon because he heads off to work. So, hi, Paloma. It's my son's dog peeking in. Hi, Paloma. Are you behaving yourself? Please do, I hope. Please. Puppy sitting, not the best. So yeah, I haven't priced drawer slides in a while. I mean, if they're not any different, then yeah, you might as well get the heavy duty ones. The ones that I really have come to like a lot are the ones that are the, what they call them, like the soft touch, which are a little bit more expensive, but I really like them. And those are the drawer slides that when you push it in, when it hits the back, they kind of slowly suck in and close all the way. And I find those are really nice. So I've done a couple of things, not for myself, but for other people. And I've used those drawer slides, and They are very well received. People really like those. But for shop cabinets, yeah, I just use whatever's cheap for shop cabinets. I don't really care. Like all the stuff in here that I've done, I've got on the back side of my workbench over here. I made a drawer cabinet for that, just cheapo drawers, and then for the cabinet underneath my CNC machine, I think those were cheap drawer slides. And then I actually did a cool thing with those drawer slides. I don't know if you can see it or not. Let me go to this camera. Can you see it? Yeah, so on this one, so this is just regular drawer slides, right? And they're on the side. I just did regular drawer slides on this drawer right here. But for this one, it's kind of cool because this is a tray for my computer. It's actually, well, it was for my computer. Now it's for the keyboard for my computer. But so it's just a slide out tray. But I did the drawer slides on the bottom, and then I did the magnetic mounts up here in the corners, and I did the little metal plates on the thing here. So when you slide it in, and then you tip it, and so it looks like a drawer, but it's actually a tray. And I just did those sliding drawer mounts on the bottom of it. So that was something different. I hadn't done that before, and that turned out pretty cool. Oh, you bought a box of 20-inch drawer slides. So that's actually that's definitely the cheaper way to go, isn't it? Definitely, I have seen that where when you buy in bulk, it's definitely a lot cheaper. Okay, I'm going to step out for just a moment because I need to go check on the dogs. So give me just a minute. I'll be right back, and then. Thank you for being good. No, you stay inside. You don't need to be out here with me. You just stay inside. I'm going to look for a piece of plywood. I need a piece of thin ply that I can use as a thickness measurement for doing these. I used to have a whole bunch of it laying around, and I think I tossed it on my burn box. Oh, hang on, I've got a small one right here. There we go. Okay. So this is the plywood that I use for the bottoms and such. It's just birch ply. And I use that as a setup to figure out how deep my rabbet bit needs to go. So I usually go about a 1/16 or so. Because I don't want this sitting on the table. I want it actually up inside the base just a little bit. I don't want this to actually be resting on the table. So I usually do about a 1/16 up, and then when that gets glued up inside that rabbet ledge, then it just barely stays off the table itself. So I usually go just a little deeper than that, by maybe like a 1/16 of an inch. So I just use a piece to set up for that. So that looks good. And let me move all of this stuff out of the way. And, all right, I do need my dust collection, sort of. I just kind of have it hanging out over here. All right, Dennis, have a good day. Thanks for stopping in. Appreciate it. Back to work. One day, hopefully, you won't have to. because it's a wonderful thing. But anyway, appreciate you stopping in. Okay, I'm going to do this big one first. And I'm just, like I said, I'm just routing around the inside. The one thing I am going to do, though, is I'm going to set up my my marking gauge and mark the inside of this so that I can get a nice line, cut the fibers, because I find that it gets a cleaner cut when it does that. So I'm just using this as a gauge to see, and then I'll use this to set it up. So I'm just setting up my marking gauge now. You need to hush. Do I have to take you outside? Really? Really? Do you really need to go outside? Ugh. Ugh, these dogs. All right, give me a minute, folks. I gotta go let a dog out. Hang on, I'll be right back. Well, I did warn that I would have to be doing that quite a bit, so it's true. All right, I'm going to run this along the edge here. I've got this set. It should be the right distance there. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? Before I do this, I'm just going to get a piece of wood and do a test cut just to make sure I've got that depth set on here. So let me get my power hooked in. And then I'm just going to make a test cut and with a scrap piece of wood, and then I will use that test cut to set up the depth for my marking gauge and make sure that it's the thickness it needs to be. We just find a block of wood here in my scrap pile. That's fine. All right. And I'm going to need to put some ears on because it's loud. So loud. All right, you all can see what I'm doing, so that's a good thing. I'm going to turn my dust collection on and the router on, and I'm just going to make a test cut, and we're going to check the depth on here. Okay, and it made a nice little ledge inside here, so you can see that's the rabbet cut right there. But I can use that as a setup block now. Put this piece of wood, put that all the way in against that cut, tighten this down. And then that is what I will use to, like I said, basically just trim the fibers, especially on something like this. Now I have to make sure I cut the right side too, because I don't want to cut the other side. That would be bad. But cherry has a tendency to chip out. So I like to use the marking gauge to, like I said, just cut the fibers. I'm not really marking where I need to cut. It's set up that way, but by cutting these fibers, if it does chip, it tears clean along this marking gauge line that I'm doing here. And then that means I don't have any ugly tear out that I have to repair. There we go. So that's all I do. I just kind of mark that out. You probably couldn't see that. Could you see me doing that? I just run it along the inside here. You pull this back just a little bit. It's a tight angle, but I don't know if it needs to be quite that tight. There we go, like that. That's good. I usually do these in a couple of passes just to not make it work so hard. I don't want to cut that much wood away. So I usually do a light pass all the way around the perimeter, and then I follow up with a full pass after that. And so let's give that a shot. All right. So that is basically the process. And you can see I've got a really nice perimeter cut. There's a little bit of fuzz around it, but it's a really clean cut all the way around the perimeter here. And I've got, like I said, basically a really nice clean edge on the inside. That's a beautiful clean edge. And a lot of that comes from, like I said, that cut. I'm looking at my cut mark there, and I can see where that basically followed right along my little marking gauge line there. There's some rough stuff in there, but just from the cuts. But yeah, it did a good job. The other thing is you want to make sure that, you know, as I'm keeping this going around that bit, I'm making sure that I've got pressure down on the wood to always have this as close and resting on that surface. That's why I flatten these in the first place. But I'm going to go ahead and do the bottoms for all of these because it's just easier because I'm already set up for them. But give me just a minute. I have to go and run and let the dog back in. So much fun. Be right back. Okay, well, the dog wanted to stay outside, so we'll just keep going. I let one of the other dogs out to keep her company, though. So one of my dogs out. My dogs are responsible dogs. Don't try to drive me crazy. mean, his dogs are sweet, but God, I swear to you, sometimes I think hell is missing a dog or two. They are little hellhounds. Alrighty. So I've got this one done. This is the walnut. We're gonna do the same thing, do it in a couple of passes, and then I'm not gonna pause or anything. We're just gonna run right through and get this finished. A little bit makes a lot of salt. Don't really need to have the vacuum on while I'm doing this. All right. And on we go. Okay. Woo. Stuff cleaned off here. Okay, we've got, looks good. 3 more to go. We've done 3. We got 3 more to go. I'm going to move these out of the way here for a second here. Just make them a little more accessible to me. And I'm also going to see if the dogs need to come in. Hang on just a second. While I run in. Okay, you dogs are not going outside. No, you're not going out. Come on. Come on. There you go. I know, it's stinking hot out there, isn't it? So hot outside. Get a drink. Relax. I'm right here. I haven't gone away. Okay, be good, please. For the love of all that's holy, be good. Crazy dogs. All right. Getting back to it. Because, you know, life is just a big box of distractions sometimes. Or a hairy bundle of distractions. As is the case with me today. Nice. And on we go. Okay. 2 more. 2 more, and we're done. I mean, this is the only thing about like batching things out is that, I mean, things kind of get repetitious after a while. But I also find that's when you really have to kind of pay attention to what you're doing, because you get a little, when there's repetition involved, you kind of get a little lazy. Okay, big green fly, get the hell out of my workshop. It's one of those flies you always see around a poop pile. Go away, what are you doing in here? No poop in here. But yeah, so it's always like, you know, when you get a little too automatic, and then it ends up that you start routing the wrong side of your box or whatever. So, you know, just slow down, pay attention. That's what I tell myself all the time. Slow down and pay attention. Because it's like this side, that's the handles. That's the side we're doing. All right, onward. So you see me kind of cleaning up after I make the first kind of pass around. And that's basically because I get so much sawdust on the table and I don't want it to interfere with this being flat. I don't want it to like be sitting up on a pile of sawdust. So I usually try to clean it after the first pass through. It does a pretty good job. And then I can come back and finish that second, that second and final pass. All right. This last one marked up. And then we'll be done with this part. Now, like I said, I usually would go into, okay, time to cut the plywood. I don't have enough plywood right now, so we might actually look at putting in the other router bit. Time is it 12:30? We'll try to do one. We will put the other router bit in and do the route around the top. And that's the one the machine sets in. So that one is a very critical one because it's not unlike these that are on the bottom and you don't see them. That's the one you see. So we're going to do a really good job with that one. Okay, let me get this last cut done. I'm a mess. I am a mess. All right, I'm going to unplug my machine for a moment because I'm going to change bits. These all turned out really nice. And they got a little bit of fuzz around the edges, but that's just cleaned right off with a swipe of paper. But what I need, looking for a particular one here that I did some stuff with originally. There, I see it. This one right here. Okay. So I need to do a couple things here. First is I'm going to make a change in the bits. So I'm going to remove this one. I'm going to take these earmuffs off because, whew. So let's raise this up. And sometimes it does this where it kind of catches and I have to take it down until it clicks. And then it's good to go. All right. Put this all the way up. When it comes up, it locks the bit in place. So it's kind of nice. For this one, I'm going to be taking off not only the bit, but the collet as well, because I need my 1/2-inch collet. So we'll take that bit out, and then we'll remove this 1/4-inch collet, and we will put in the 1/2-inch collet. Keep that right here. Let me clean this out just a little bit. There you go. Just get any dust that was left in the bottom of that. Okay. We got this big mamma jamma. Drop that down inside there. And tighten that up. Then I need to lower this down and we will check. Now here's the thing. I have to figure out how low I need this. Okay, lots of barking. UPS man came to my house. Oh my gosh. All right, give me just a minute while I go yell at some dogs because they're yelling at my UPS driver. Hey, it's just UPS. It's no big deal. Seriously. Let me see what he left. He left a little teeny box. So many boxes. Okay, you can look out. Move, 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 move. Oh my gosh, go away. Go, go, get back, get back, get back. You guys are horrible. Get back. Get back. Get back. Get back, honky cat. Better get back to your world. Okay, look out. What in the world? Who is this from? Park Pie Shop. Okay, that sounds awesome. I don't know why I'm getting pies from the Park Pie Shop, but it says perishable. Gold belly perishable. I have no idea why I got pies. But you know what? Don't look a gift pie in the mouth, I guess. That's really bizarre. I don't know why I have a pie. I didn't order a pie. I don't know who would order me a pie. Pretty sure my wife didn't order me a pie. I mean, I guess I'll have to ask her, but pie is good. Oh my gosh. Hang on. I have to go block somebody. Can I do that in here? Can I just block them? Can I control click them and block them? I don't know how to do this. I should be able to like control click somebody. Mod view. Is that wrong? I was probably wrong. I probably didn't want to do that. Although I'm in mod view, so I don't know what that means. But it cleared my chat, so that's okay, I guess. I guess that's okay. Now I need to pull up. Okay, thanks. Next. Skip all. See, I just did this and now I'm like stuck in here. Okay, window. I got to get all my windows back up. Oh, he was on YouTube. Cool. Okay, and Facebook. There we go. Okay. So I do need to pull this window over so I can see that. I've got a dude in here that honestly, like, I don't know how to filter people. I should really learn how to do that because, you know, I need to. Oh, there we go. I think I just figured it out. If I click their name, then I can ban them. Oh, I can report them. There we go. So I'm going to report them for in chat message. There we go. Spam. There we go. And I think it's a bot account. There you go. I don't want to tell you anymore. Just take care of it. Golly. Okay. Well, that's a lot just to ban somebody. I need a mod in my chat. You know, I guess that's why people have mods in their chats so that they can take care of that nonsense. Unfortunately, I never have enough people in my chat to really, and regulars to actually say, hey, would you be a mod for me, kind of thing. Okay, so what I need to do now is, before I move on, well, actually I need to do one more thing. I need to get the correct plate put over top of that, because that plate, not going to do it. I think this one, maybe not that one. Go up one size, this one will fit. There we go. So this one fits. If I can get it to drop in the slot. There we go. But now I need to figure out how actual thick this is and how deep I need to make this route. And for that, I'm going to grab some calipers, and they're set to 0. And I like to be in 0.1 inches. I'm going to 0 that out. And I'm going to take this and I'm just going to measure how thick this is, like on this corner right here. So that's like 0.193, 0.18. Cross this back here. Let's try this. 0.188. So I think, you know, this does not have to be a very deep route. 0.198. Because if it actually rests just a hair above, that's okay. And this is 2 right there. So I think if I do 0.19 is what I'm looking at, or 0.19 or 0.185. So I'm going to set that up on my caliper here. 0.185 right there. I can always make it deeper, but you know, once you go too deep, you're kind of hosed. So I'd rather start a little shallow and make it deeper if I need to. So come on, 0.1, there it is, 185. I'm going to lock that in. And then I need to get this set so that, I mean, this is not much of a depth on here, but let's see if we can. And once again, I will do a test route on a piece of something. Right there. I will grab this other block of wood that I had, same block. Let's do a test and see if this is going to be deep enough for this or too deep. So let's give it a try. So I'm going to plug this router back in now that we're set up. And let's give it a shot here. Oh, you know what else I could have done? I could have banned them. Banned. I just banned them. That's pretty cool. You know, banning people. Very godlike. Very king-like. You're banished. All right. Banishment aside, let's get on to some business here, shall we? I slowed this bit down just a little bit. I mean, the thing about bigger blades, bigger router bits is that they should be slower in speed. But this looks like it is just a little short. To come in and lower this. If I can, where did I put my, there it is. I'm going to lower this down, or lower it, raise it just a hair. So we need to come up just a hair. And then we'll try it again. Perfect. All right, it took me a little bit of setup there, but I finally got it to the thickness that I need. It's not much, but I got it to that thickness. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to flip this table over, or this base over, because now we're doing this route on the inside here. This is going to give me a 3/8 of an inch deep route. Where's my thing here? So this spacing right here between this edge and here should be, I'm going to measure it, should be 3/8 of an inch. Which is, what is that, 0.375? So looking on here, that's exactly 3/8 of an inch. I mean, you know, 49 1/28. Sometimes this thing's a little too accurate. Right there. Let me see here. 3/10. Here's 3/10. Can't find 3/10. 5/16. 5/16 is not deep enough. 3/8, right? 3/8, 3/10, 3/8 of an inch. There's 3/8. So let me go and measure this again. 3/8, and that's 3/8. Okay. So let's go ahead, fingers crossed time. The only thing I have to be careful of is this notch right here, because as I'm routing across here, remember that bearing likes to follow, and you don't want that bearing to dip inside this notch because it will cut a little bit of a scoop out of there. So you need to be careful when you're going past that one section. That's all I got to say about that. All right, let us go ahead and, hang on, sorry, I rearranged things and now I have to actually rearrange my windows once more. There we go. Okay, let's go ahead and do this cut, and then we'll measure the base inside here and make sure that we've got exactly, oh, hang on. You know what I didn't do? I'm kind of see, this is where I talk about getting automatic and getting ahead of myself, because I almost screwed this up. And I put this base down to actually do the routing, and I noticed something on there. And you know what I noticed? It tipped a little bit. And it's like, you know what I didn't do? I didn't flatten this. And these need to be flattened. Remember how I was flattening them? These need to be flattened. So I'm gonna clear some space here. I'm gonna check these against my table over here and see if this top is tipping. So you can see I'm over here, I'm checking it now. Yeah, I've got a little tippiness here, right? So I don't want that. I want this to be flat because I want that sewing machine to sit flat inside here. All right, so I'm a little high on this end right here. So this end right here needs to come down. I'm just going to try this one edge to start with, right here. Now that is a pain, and that is a pain. Really? It's all on this corner, so I have to flip this whole thing this way and do it from this side, which is kind of a pain in the rear end, but if you want it to look nice, that's what you do. All right, and I'll do one more quick one here, and then we'll test it on the table again. See how our flatness is. Still got a little rocking going on here. This edge right here, maybe. Let's try this edge. And you can see I'm hitting this more than I am here, which means this needs a little flattening on this corner. I don't want to knock that off. All right, we're just going to check it again. Still got a little tipping going on here. So these corners right here, this corner and this corner. So this one, I got to run it in from this side. I'm going to just hit this corner right here because I can feel just a little bit right here. See if we can clean that up. Feels pretty good. And then clean it up right here. And then check it. Like every time I do it, it's like, oh, here, would you like to be a little bit worse? This corner right here. This corner. And, you know, it's kind of one of those things you just kind of have to keep going, but you don't want to do too much at once because then you could kill the corner. So do a little bit and check it. Getting closer. I still think I need to shave a little off of this edge right here. Let me see. Just a little bit more off of this edge right here. And this one runs this way. All right, again. Okay. Now, we're good? Shoot, we're still not good. I need it right in the middle here. I've got a little bit of a wobble right here in the middle. So I'm just going to clean this up right here. See if that helps. Boy, you are just such a pain in my rear end. But I really like to have these things kind of perfect. Like to have them as perfect as I can get them. Okay, that's good. I'm not going to go any further than that. So for this particular one, I think we're good. Now, I am going to do that to all of them, but I'm not going to make you watch me do that to all of them. We're just going to do this one. Test fit the machine, but this now is fitting much flatter and more secure on here as I'm getting ready to route it. So that's kind of what I was after. Okay. This goes over here. I hate it when I don't put things in their spot when they have a spot to go in when I'm done with them, because then I can never find it. All right, let's go. Tell you what, the other difference in having a high quality bit as opposed to a cheap one is it cuts like freaking butter. I mean, it just melted its way through that wood. There's no resistance at all. It is such a great thing. Anyway, moment of truth. We've got our sewing machine. We've got that route. You can see we did that route right here. It looks pretty good, right? All around the edge. But this is where it really matters, is this needs to fit inside there like this. And there's a little extra room in here. I'm not really happy about the extra room. Little extra room in there. This might be a little too wide. I mean, I've got good clearance in here. I mean, it sits a little in there, but I might make a modification to this and see if I can put a slightly larger wheel on there and make a slightly smaller cut. I mean, if I can do, that was 3/8. I mean, the thing about doing the 1/4 inch is it gives me a finer radius, and I need a bigger radius on this. But so the bit that I'm using has I can't find my tool now, of course. There it is. So this one has a radius of, I think it's 5/8. Yeah, so 5/8 on there. If I use a slightly larger a slightly larger wheel, here's one that's 3/4 of an inch. So I went from 5/8 to 3/4. So, you know, you do the math. So 5/8 is what, a little over 1/2 inch. So I'm adding 1/8 of an inch in diameter to this. If I add 1/8 of an inch in diameter, what's it going to do to my cut depth? Let's see. think there's a little chart in here, if I can find it. And let me see if it tells me exactly what my my profile is. So with the so this says for 3/8 use the for a 3/8 cut use the 5/8 diameter bearing. Then it says for a 5/16 cut use the 3/4. That makes no sense at all. If I go to a larger bearing, the cut size is smaller, not larger. I think this is like stupid and backwards. I think this is wrong. Because that should not give me a larger cut. Oh, 5/16. Okay. 5/16. I was thinking of 5/8. 5/16 would be a 16th over a quarter, right? So let's do that. You know what? Screw it. Let's go ahead and do one. Because honestly, we need to find out. Is that hot? Gotta get this little. There we go. We need to find out if that's going to make the difference, and I think it is. Unfortunately, this one might just be a keeper. I might not sell this one. That's why I did it on this one, that I had kind of screwed up a cut on it already. Where'd I put that bit? I think there it is. Okay, we replaced one bearing with another one. This is going to give me a slightly thinner ledge, a thinner rabbet to work with, but I think that's what we need. Okay. I'm going to put this back in here, put this back in here, and then we're going to do another one. And I'm going to grab another one of these. I'm not going to do the walnut one because that's the money base, but this is definitely a thinner cut now. So, and it's hard to say. It's supposed to be, what did I say? 5/16, yeah. So 5/16 I think would have been a better fit for this. I'm going to take this out for a second to look. I think 5/16 definitely would have given me a narrower ledge to work with and made this a tighter fit. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do one of these. We're going to check it. This one, like I said, may just be a keeper, and I'll use it for reference purposes. You know, it's money out of my pocket, but I'd rather have them right. You know, I'm here to make, I'm not here to make firewood, right? Let me just dinged my phone. Okay. All righty. Let's cut one, shall we? Let's just roll the dice. We're gonna roll the dice and cut one. That's all I can say. Let's cut one. And then if it's good, if it's not, well, then I'm kind of hosed and don't know what to do with my life. So we'll figure it out. Oh, you know what I didn't do though? Same thing. We got to come back here and we got to level this bad boy first. Got to level first. I got too much stuff in my way now. I've got things in the way. I got machines now that are in my way. Got to move this out. Let's check the flatness of this one, because that does make a difference though. I will say. Yeah, and this one's not square. So I've got two corners here that need to be cleaned up. And I'm going to move this stuff out of the way real quick. So this corner and this corner. And let me see which way I'm going. Of course. Well, that works out. Okay. Let me just get some cuts here. And do the same thing on this side. And hopefully that's enough to close. Let's check this. So this edge, I kind of want to cut across here a little bit more. Bring it this way. I don't want to do too much, just to try a little bit. And that was perfect. Okay, that was perfect. Now, we're going to come over here and fire this up and do this one. Number 2. Let's give it a roll. Okay. Oh, moment of truth time. But I can already tell this is a better fit. So I can tell. Oh, there it is. That's the money right there. It's still a little, it's got a little bit of wiggle room, but I'd rather have a little bit of wiggle room. It doesn't have to be perfectly fit. It just has to fit in there. The depth is good. We've got handles. That's why the handles are there, so you can lift it up. The thing flips up perfectly, so that's good. So this particular machine is broken, so the thing doesn't sit down all the way. It's not the fault of the base. I mean, I still have like like an extra 1/16 of an inch or something in here, but that's okay. I would rather have just a hair too much room than not enough. And on the ends, it's perfect. So, I mean, it's hard to get this type of fit. But that's the good one right there. So we're good. And you can see where I was talking about the radiuses kind of fit nicely. I don't know if you can see it or not, but you can see that the radius around this and the radius that's created by this bit fit really nicely with this machine. So it's just a nice kind of a round, large round profile. And so there you go. I have to do many more of those. And then I have to figure out how I'm going to fix that large one, which is, I've got ideas on that, so that's okay. But anywho, I think that's where I'm going to leave it for the time being because I have to go in and tend to my wild dogs. Well, not my wild dogs, my son's wild dogs. My dog's not wild. His dog's kind of wild. But I have to go tend to them. And yes. So yeah, I think for this weekend, I will finish doing the routes on these. I will go buy some plywood and start maybe trying to do some bottoms, or at least cut some wood out for that particular purpose. Like I said, I have one sheet. I can probably get 4 bases out of there. Since I just screwed one up, I'm probably not going to use that unless I sell it as a bargain basement one. Somebody might want it. I don't know. We'll see. If they want it, maybe I'll do it on, like, you know, cut the price by 25%. It's kind of like a factory oops. But it really does look nice. I mean, look at that. Doesn't that look nice sitting there? I mean, that really does. It's a really nice fitting profile on there. It just fits in there really well. So I like the way that looks. Okay, so that's probably what I'll do this weekend is go get some plywood, maybe cut some bottoms. I'll finish routing all of these. I still have things to do, like these edges on here. Let me go over here to this cam. So these edges are just a hair proud right here. They stick out just a little bit. I don't know if you can see that. There, that's kind of a good angle. So you can see they stick out just a little bit right there. So what I will do is stick those in my table clamp and then plane those off and make them flat so all of my sides are squared up. And I'm still trying to decide if I want to do a roundover on here. I might do a slight, like a 1/4 inch roundover, nothing huge, just like a 1/4 of an inch roundover, just to kind of take that sharp edge off of it and kind of mirror what I've got on here. I didn't do a roundover. I think I did like an 1/8 inch roundover on the last set of these I did, but they were dovetail joints. So doing a roundover on the dovetail would look kind of weird, like a large roundover like I usually do. So I did it like an 1/8 inch just to take the edge off. These I might do a 1/4 of an inch. I do have my test base now. That's what I'm going to call it. So I can check it on that one and see how that looks. And that might be what I do with that. That's something I can do at any point in time. So I might save that for next week on stream. And like I said, maybe putting some of the bottoms in. Maybe I'll save a couple of the bottoms, getting those cut, sized, and the corners rounded and inserted and glued so you can see that process. And yeah, the other thing I need to start looking at is the lids for these. Like I said, that machine, so if you look at that machine, it fits front to back, right? It doesn't need a lid. It has a bed extension that completely fills that base. But I make this because for a short bed and long bed. The short bed only comes to about here. So it's, I don't know, almost half the length of this. That's why they call it a short bed. So what I do is I make a filler piece that goes in here. That means I have to get a piece of wood cut out and put it on my CNC and cut out that profile and then thin it down to fit into that slot in the front. And that way I can sell these to people who they're basically dual purposed. So if you have a short bed machine, well, it has a bed extension and it just gives you more storage up front. If you've got a long bed, just stick the little lid underneath it and use your regular machine. So I get to sell this to 2 different machine owners with the same base, and that's what makes it useful to me. So instead of trying to make short bed versions and long bed versions, I just make one version, make a little lid, life is good. So I need to figure out, wood-wise, I'm going to need to do at least one walnut, and I have some extra walnut laying around here, so I could actually, know where I got a piece of walnut at. I think. So here we go. So I've got a nice piece of walnut right here that I can use to cut one of them out on. So that's nice. And then the cherry stuff, I can just take some scrap cherry and glue it together, and I've got cherry, so I can make some cherry blanks. I just need to figure out how big that blank needs to be to fill that space, and I got to go check the stats on my CNC machine to see what my requirements are. And from there, yeah, I don't know. There's not a lot else to do with these machines. These are kind of simple, and that's why I like them. So anyway, I mean, there's still a lot of little work to be done to them. It's not like they're just ready to go out the door. But this is the part that is, to me, is the most nerve-wracking, is getting that fit right. Once I get the fit right, it's just kind of like all downhill from there. It's nice and easy. So I have a lot of sawdust to clean up. I might put the attachment on and clean that sawdust. And then I'm going to go have some lunch and play my guitar, because I have my guitar lessons. I'm 57 years old and I take guitar lessons, and I have been for like 4 years now. So, because I enjoy it, it's fun. Hence the Fender shirt. But anyway, yeah, so I've got a full day of stuff to do today. Kind of disappointed my new bike didn't show up today, and now they've like delayed it till tomorrow. That kind of sucks, because I was planning on putting that together today, but it'll wait till tomorrow. And maybe if it's nice this afternoon, I'll go for a ride on my other bike. We'll see. But anyway, let's go ahead and call it a day. Hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. If you get a chance and you want to hit the like button, subscribe, follow, whatever is appropriate for the platform you're on, I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you stopping by. And I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Come back and see me next week. Take care.